Good evening. Welcome to Chicago This Week. I'm Taylor Anthony. We begin with police body cam footage during a recent traffic stop. Justice advocates are asking, how much force is too much? In the video, police are seen shooting at a vehicle 96 times after the suspect inside refuses to comply. Haley Samples is live with the video and reaction. Hi, Haley.
Hi, Taylor. The body camera footage of the incident was recently released. Now, social justice advocates are calling for reform on traffic stops. Here's more.
It is shocking and horrifying, but not surprising.
Those words describing the fatal police shooting of 26-year-old Dexter Reed. On March 21st, at the 3800 block of West Ferdinand, a routine traffic stop turned into a heated exchange of gunfire. Now, 3 weeks later, officials have released the body cam footage of the incident, leading advocates to call for traffic stop reform. The following footage may be upsetting. In just 41 seconds, 96 shots were fired by policemen. This comes after Reed failed to follow police commands to open his windows and unlock his doors.
Open the door now! Open the door
Reed was armed at the scene and the first to release fire. This traffic stop stemmed from officers suspecting that Reed wasn't wearing his seatbelt.
Things need to change. That this should have never happened.
A new report by Law and Policy Center Impact for Equity shows that Black drivers are 6 times as likely to be pulled over compared to their white counterparts. They also found that traffic stops are not an effective tool to stop violence.
I think we see less than 1% of stops resulting in any kind of illegal material being found.
Their data also shows that a traffic stop is the most common event for an officer to pull their weapon. That's one example of why experts want to see a change in policy and police protocol.
Looks like ending the use of pretextual traffic stops, of limiting low-level violations like preventing officers from being able to stop someone for a broken headlight or taillight for an expired registration.
Until policy change comes, Yanka says for now, accountability is key.
Holding individual officers accountable, it's holding their managers accountable, and frankly, it's holding the entire department accountable.
Now, with the body camera footage available, city officials say that investigations are underway.
Thanks, Haley. Moving on to a story about fake guns, but real danger. Teenagers in the suburbs are taking part in a game called Senior Assassins. They use water guns to eliminate their competition, but in some recent cases, people thought the violent game was real. Blanca Estrada has more. Hi, Blanca.
Hi, Taylor. Senior Assassin is a game meant to celebrate the last few weeks of senior year. But now, police are putting out community alerts. An annual senior activity in the suburbs has turned dangerous. Senior Assassin has sparked warnings from police in Gurnee, Schaumburg, Arlington Heights, and Bartlett. This comes after a few concerning incidents associated with the game. In an email, Sergeant Mike Orlando from the Arlington Heights Police Department said, "This police department issued a community notification because there are safety concerns related to openly carrying a squirt gun that resembles a look-alike firearm. Just last week, a rollover crash in Itasca was caused by the popular game. No one was seriously injured, but citations were issued. In Gurnee, a group of high school students entered a restaurant wearing ski masks and holding water guns, which resembled firearms."
It was pretty fun, but I feel like sometimes, there's going to be that one person that's going to ruin it for everybody, of course. Yeah.
The game involves shooting a senior among their class with a water gun. Once they are hit, they are out. This game is not illegal, but depending on the area, it could lead students into trouble. In Gurnee, cases that occur in public would result in charges such as disorderly conduct.
Thanks, Blanca. Chicago has the most lead service lines in the United States, and several city neighborhoods still have unsafe levels of lead in water. Lead pipes are banned now, but as Anaya Jones shows us, in parts of the city, old pipes still haven't been replaced.
That's right, Taylor. Lake Michigan is Chicago's main source for drinking water. However, by the time the water makes it to your home, it could be contaminated. Take a look to find out why. This is the sound of children at play, a joy that can be compromised by a major issue in the Chicagoland area. A recent study found that 75% of residential city blocks in Chicago have lead-contaminated water. More than 66% of children under the age 6 live on these blocks and may be exposed.
Chicago has the most lead service lines in the country because they were banned in 1986, but before then, Chicago made them mandatory for everyone to have.
Since Chicago was not forced to remove its lead pipes, it left most of it in the ground, relying on water treatment instead to lower the lead levels. But according to Benjamin Hewen, lower lead levels aren't always guaranteed.
Your water can have spiked levels of lead if, for example, the city does construction on the water main near your house.
With young children in danger, parents and child care professionals are concerned.
All of these environmental things plays a direct part into these rising rates of kids with autism in our communities.
According to the Illinois Department of Public Health, the prevalence of autism has been increasing over the years. In 2002, the prevalence rate was 1 in 333 children. In 2018, 1 in 59. And in 2023, 1 in 51. Data shows that autistic children have higher lead levels in hair, blood, and urine, indicating a high body burden of this heavy metal. Here are 3 ways you can keep your children safe at home. 1. Call 311 to request a free water quality lead inspection. 2. Run your water for at least 5 minutes before drinking. And 3. Get a water filter that is NSF certified. But according to Hewen, there's only one permanent solution.
At the end of the day, the only way to really get rid of this problem for good is to replace the lead service lines completely.
Imagine being halfway through your university education, you're on track to getting your degree, and suddenly your school shuts down. It happened here in Chicago. Kennedy Hewitt has the report.
That's right, Taylor. Students at this university were told just a few weeks ago that their institution will be closing in late April, leaving hundreds of students disappointed, confused, and nervous for their next steps. Take a look. Universities are typically busy with the rush of student life, but this university, a ghost town. Oak Point University announced just a few weeks ago that they will be closing their doors for good, leaving students with little over a month to worry about finals and figure out their next plan.
Well, I just heard it from other coworkers, and yeah, it was kind of shocking.
Previously known as Resurrection University, Oak Point opened in the early 1900s as a healthcare institution. In March, they put out this press release, letting students and staff know that they will be officially shutting down at the end of the semester.
We are accepting all Oak Point students into the Lewis community without any kind of admissions process.
Prior to closing, Oak Point officials set up a transfer agreement with Lewis University. Only a mile away from their Oak Brook campus, Lewis University is expecting around 300 students to transfer over. The press release cites a gradual decline in enrollment as one of the challenges the institution faced.
They can just begin right where they were without losing any time or credit that they've earned along the way.
Dr. Scanlon, the president of Oak Point, wrote in the press release, "This decision was not arrived at lightly, and we recognize the profound impact it will have on our students, faculty, and staff." Chicago This Week has not received a response from Oak Point University at this time.
Thanks, Kennedy. Chicago's 53rd Annual Pride Parade is scheduled for June 30th, but this year's event will be downsized. It's a little smaller and starts a little earlier. Nicole Herzog is live with this report. Nicole, why the change?
Taylor, city officials tell me the parade is scaling back due to safety concerns. But with nearly 1 million people still expected to attend, that decision is raising some questions.
A little bit of a disappointment.
Lakeview neighbor George McDonald says he'll never forget his first Pride Parade.
It was kind of daring for me. I hadn't come out yet.
The 53-year tradition is one of the largest Pride celebrations in the country.
I just think it's a really happy time.
But this year, making those memories might look a little different. Parade organizers said in a statement that city officials are downsizing the parade in June due to safety and logistical concerns, bringing down the number of people who can march in the parade from 200 to 125, and kicking off the events earlier at 11 a.m. instead of noon.
As a queer person, I think that it should be as long and as big as possible.
As for what exactly those safety concerns are, the city didn't provide a clear answer. A spokesperson from the Department of Transportation told Chicago This Week, "We are constantly evaluating options to improve safety while also delivering the best experience for our visitors, residents, and community." But with nearly 1 million people expected to attend the event, some say they're still worried.
It doesn't make me feel safer at all. The size of it, I guess, doesn't really change because it's still an event in a major city.
Pride organizers also said allowing LGBTQ+ organizations and businesses to participate in the parade will be the main priority. And even with the changes, some neighbors say they're still excited to attend.
I think starting earlier will help with crowd control. But yeah, I just hope that everyone pops out and shows support.
Thanks, Nicole. Switching gears now. How do you help more young Black men aim high? Not just to get an education or a job, but to become the boss at that job. I visited an organization on the South Side working to do just that. Take a look.
2, 3.
The grand opening of the Collab Warehouse, a first-of-its-kind project designed to help Black and brown youth on the city's South Side to become business owners.
We're open for business. Thank you.
I see the Collab space being an economic catalyst for young people, and specifically to solve the problem of 45% of African American young men ages 18 to 24 are not in school or working.
This new creative space was founded by former NFL player Walter Mendenhall in partnership with his entrepreneurial nonprofit mentorship program, the Male Mogul Initiative, which helps young men ages 14 to 24 become career ready.
I learned basically self-value, morals, and lessons that I can.
This is Jerice Winston, a 2020 graduate of the MMI program and now the operating manager of Collab. Winston describes his experience as seldom.
To be here helping young people basically develop their entrepreneurial values and gifts is just seldom.
Collab will operate as a collaborative laboratory with 2 floors of creative spaces for film, arts, and enterprise.
We're purposely investing in young African American men in the community.
The sponsors supporting this initiative have made Mendenhall's dream become reality.
Collab is something that is really a dream actually coming true.
With the goal for young people to come and
really monetize their creativity.
By the end of the year, Collab hopes to have 120 members. From Inglewood, Taylor Anthony, Chicago This Week.
Get ready, sports fans. It's time for another edition of Chicago This Week Sports. I'm Sean Graney, and we kick things off with baseball. Now, it could be that there are no standout players or the long list of injuries. Let's just say a bad start to the White Sox season keeps getting worse. Take a look.
They're all laughing at us. Come on. We look like the laughingstock of baseball right now.
Checking in at 2-13 on the season, the White Sox are off to historically one of their worst starts in franchise history.
Sad to come out here. I mean, they're supposed to be representing this side of the city, you know. I mean,
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I can't name a single player, and I feel like that's why their record is what it is.
The Sox have undergone much change in the offseason, and fans can only point to one reason for the abysmal win-loss record.
Well, the injuries are killing them this year, and I think we just need to get good chemistry on the team, and we'll be back on top.
I mean, we got players that are getting hurt every other week. I mean, it's not even a surprise at this point. It's just like, oh, he's hurt again.
White Sox general manager Chris Getz says he understands fans' discontent with the team and, quote, "I certainly can relate to those frustrations. It's my job to be able to plug in different players and continue to go out there and compete. That's all we can do at this point."
I think it's just a lack of care. I mean, you got to want to be a good baseball team to be a good baseball team.
Our team ain't healthy, and when it gets healthier, it will get better.
The Southsiders are the first American League team in over 50 years to score 1 or no runs in at least 8 of their first 14 ball games. Who's your favorite player on the team and why?
I don't really know the players that well. Same, I don't really know the players.
I don't know if they don't have the bread or what, but they're not getting the players that they need to.
I mean, right now, I feel like we're just throwing people in there. And it's kind of sad to see, you know.
Sox fans have one simple message for the front office and management for this season and beyond. Do better. On to golf now and our Caleb Nixon. He spent the weekend at a sports bar that caters to golf fans. All eyes were on the Masters. Watch this.
Fourth year doing this. Every major championship, we do watch parties for that.
The Greystone Tavern brought out their Sunday best for the final round of the 2024 Masters.
This is a great regular bar. They always put on a great show. They have a nice raffle. They have great specials. Why not hang out on a beautiful Sunday, watch the Masters with your friends?
The venue turned what can be a slow sport into an exciting afternoon of golf.
We always have specials, drink specials, food specials, that kind of the specials that they have in the tournament.
As a local Wrigleyville bar, Bagley and his team profound themselves on appealing to a wide array of audiences by hosting events like this.
It's really important for us to do things that kind of set us on a different path.
Medill sports media reporter Everett Munez joins me now. And Everett, this truly was a go-to event. Let's start with the dominating performance by Scotty Scheffler. Let's just talk about this run. What kind of significance does this mean for his career? And can he continue this into the other majors this upcoming summer?
Yeah, well, Scotty Scheffler is just so good. And to put it into further context, he's not only the 4th youngest player to win 2 green jackets, he also did it in only 5 attempts. And this is the fewest attempts needed to win 2 green jackets since some guy named Horton Smith back in the 1930s. No disrespect to Horton Smith, I have no idea who that is. And so just in general, there are only 2 players also in the history of golf to win both a Players' Championship and a Masters tournament in the same season. Tiger Woods 2001, Scotty Scheffler 2024.
Of course, always the headline when you get to these majors is Tiger Woods, and he made history yet again at the Masters, setting a record with 24 consecutive made cuts in this tournament. Are we ever going to see such a dominant golfer again in our lifetime?
I said earlier that what Scotty Scheffler is doing right now is Tiger-like. It's not like Tiger Woods. And what? So Scotty needs 73 more PGA Tour wins to match Tiger. He needs 13 more majors to match Tiger. He needs 16 more majors to match Jack Nicklaus. I mean, that's absurd. So yes, we're never going to see a run as good as Tiger in the future, but that really helps us appreciate how good Scotty Scheffler is right now.
Tiger Woods, one of a kind, maybe 2 of a kind up there with Jack Nicklaus. But Everett, thank you for joining us today, talking about some Masters in golf. We look forward to having you back to talk about future Masters events.
I appreciate that.
Back to you, Sean.
Thanks, Caleb. The rise of women's basketball is undeniable. We just saw this year's women's NCAA title game beat the men's in total viewers. As you can imagine, some of the people enjoying this new appreciation for women's sports are the female athletes who broke barriers to get us here. King Jemison has this report.
Women's basketball is on the rise, setting records for viewership and attendance.
It's amazing. We were always waiting for it to happen.
One of Chicago's own, Mary Pat Connolly, helped make it happen.
When I was playing basketball in high school, even at Illinois, basketball was considered a boys' game. We had to fight for everything that we got.
She was the first women's athlete to earn a full scholarship to the University of Illinois. She arrived on campus in 1975.
Well, I'm a Title IX baby. I still remember this coming out the tunnel of the assembly hall and saying, wow, this is just really amazing.
After college, she joined the first women's professional basketball league in United States history, playing for her hometown Chicago Hustle.
We really, really wanted it to work because we loved playing basketball.
The league disbanded after Connolly's second season, and she moved on, eventually to a very successful coaching career. But years later, she got the recognition she deserved.
Kind of faded away, and then all of a sudden it's resurrected, and hey, you guys are going to go into the Hall of Fame as trailblazers for the women's game.
In 2018, Connolly and other players in the first women's professional basketball league were honored by the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. But despite her groundbreaking individual achievements, Perhaps her biggest impact has been on the players she's coached.
It was just so amazing to be coached by someone who has done so much to grow the game herself.
Connolly coached at Marist High School for 20 years until her retirement in 2022. She won 14 regional titles. During the course of her storied basketball career, the women's basketball landscape changed dramatically, but some things remain the same.
Love of the game, passion that the girls have. I think that's what has carried over to the girls playing now. It's the same thing.
Connolly continues to impact the women's game. One of her former players, Sydney Afalter, just competed in the national championship with Iowa. You can hear more about Afalter's story on our next show.
The National Association of Intercollegiate Athletes just announced that it would ban transgender women from competing in women's sports. The decision impacts 7 schools here in our state. Karina Wilson is live with more. Hi, Karina.
Hi, Sean. One of the schools affected is St. Xavier University. Chicago this week has yet to hear from the athletic director concerning this issue.
Trans women competing in women's sports does not threaten women's sports as a whole.
The National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics' new policy says only students who are biologically female can compete in female sports. The association potentially becomes the first governing body of college athletics to ban transgender women from women's sports. The NAIA's decision affects 250 colleges across the country, 7 of which are in Illinois. In a news release, the president and CEO, Jim Carr, says, with input from our member institutions and the Transgender Task Force, the NAIA's Council of Presidents has confirmed our path forward.
They can mask it as an issue regarding trans people in sports, but I think ultimately it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Former University of Pennsylvania swimmer Leah Thomas sparked outrage at the 2022 NCAA Division I Women's Swimming and Diving Championships. The swimmer is the first known trans athlete to win a NCAA Division I national championship. Thomas remains outspoken when defending trans rights.
Because all trans kids deserve the opportunity to compete and play in the sports they love without compromising who they are.
Until 2022, the NAIA mirrored the NCAA rules concerning transgender athletes. The NAIA policy goes into effect August 1st. In the Loop, Karina Wilson, Chicago This Week.
My next guest has played in the NFL for the Philadelphia Eagles, Indianapolis Colts, Buffalo Bills, and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Walter Mendenhall is the man behind the Male Mogul Initiative. Walter, it is such a pleasure to have you with us in the studio. Tell us about your background in the studio and how that kind of turned into your mentorship program.
Yeah, so thank you, Sean, for having me. Football, kind of was, for me, my end-all, be-all. Loved it, but what I realized in the NFL, it's not for long. I wasn't done with football, but football was done with me. Really didn't know what I wanted to do. But my coach actually, my old high school coach, asked me to come in and be an assistant coach, and that eventually turned into a teaching opportunity, which then turned into me really wanting to discover how I could better reach young people, and that's kind of how the Male Mogul was birthed.
And then tell us about the satisfaction you get out of this, and just totally, what do you get out of this experience and overall this program?
Yes, so I think for me, this is the first time really in my life where I am experiencing joy. A lot of people think, playing football, scoring touchdowns, but it's really very stressful. It's very competitive, and you really don't have that joy. This is where I really feel that my true joy comes from impacting others instead of edifying myself.
Walter, thank you so much for joining us.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Now we're moving on to dating. According to the Pew Research Center, nearly half of all Americans say dating is harder today than it was 10 years ago. Pew also says that apps like Tinder and Match have become pretty standard, with 3 in 10 adults using dating apps. As Mary Grace Grable shows us, some people still prefer to meet the old-fashioned way.
Take a step away from dating apps and meet the way your parents met.
When I was in my 20s, you went to maybe a party or out to a bar. That's where you met maybe your girlfriend or maybe your wife.
In 1961, Butch McGuire envisioned a bar where single women could safely find their future partners. In 2024, his son is reintroducing that concept.
I'm here for singles night.
Yeah, I'm here for the singles night, so crossing my fingers. I really hate online dating. In person, you can kind of get to know someone a little bit better.
At the end of the day, I don't really care to talk to you about what your favorite color is. It's just more natural when you can meet someone organically and in person.
Our demographic, I always say 7 months to 70. If you come in here on a Friday or Saturday night at midnight, the average age is probably 25.
Allowing anyone to find their future someone while meeting the old-fashioned way.
It's exciting to know that there are other options besides just the apps that are kind of out here to explore.
And I think there will probably be some awkward moments. And maybe that's good. You're going to have to take a little bit of a risk that maybe you're not used to. And that's the whole point, I think.
A great date idea is watching live comedy. For 10 years now, a local comedy showcase has been making audiences laugh. Our Casey Clark-Malott attended the anniversary show and is live now with more. Hi, Casey.
Hi, Taylor. Comedy is a great date idea. I saw a couple going on their second date and another going on 3 years. After 10 years of shows, the best night ever is still going strong.
You're dressed a little too nice. I worked at a McDonald's. I stopped showing up. They kept me on the schedule for another year.
April 9th marked a decade of the weekly comedy showcase, Best Night Ever.
We usually get a pretty good audience, some fun people popping in. The crowds are usually pretty great, and it's a highlight of my week.
You know who's not having a good time? Me. The man who dropped out of film school 3 times in 2 years.
For the anniversary show, hosted at the Lincoln Lodge, co-producer Elsie Howe hopes the show serves as a welcoming environment.
The show means the world to me. I want it to have a reputation of, if a bigger name's in town, that they'd want to do the show and give newer comics the opportunity to perform with people like that.
One common Best Night Ever comedian believes the show and venue help cultivate a community.
You're going to find your friend group no matter what, so it's certainly fostered a lot of interesting friendships and a lot of friendships that I think many people don't get.
While not a producer for all 10 years, Schenker understands the significance and value of the show.
Yeah, it was cool. It's kind of surreal to know all the names and faces who've graced the show's stage. Cool to know that I'm one of them.
Personally, I think it's the most positive place in America on a Tuesday night.
But no matter what, Hull says there will always be constants in a show.
Lots of cool people and lots of freaks and weirdos if you want to get wacky and wild.
Finally, tonight, if you're like us in the newsroom, you probably spent the last few days outside enjoying the beautiful weather. Our Jasmine Thomas spent time outdoors talking to the Chicagoans. Take a look.
Hopefully you got a chance to enjoy the weather this past weekend because it's not here to stay just yet. Temperatures are set to drop into the high 50s and low 60s in the next couple of days.
It was a super sunny weekend here in Chicago. With temperatures reaching 80 degrees, people were eager to come outside and enjoy the weather. People were seen riding their bikes, taking a stroll down Navy Pier, and having picnics under the sun.
I thought it's going to be a little cooler. I brought my jacket, but it's not.
Some hope this weather is here to stay.
I'm not sure if it's here to stay, but I really sure hope it does.
Others, not so much.
I think it's going to snow next week.
People are strutting in their shorts and sandals that have been lying in their closet for months, waiting for their time to shine.
I pushed back all my clothes in my closet. I thought, I don't think so I'm going to use those jackets or anything anymore, but trying to get all the short sleeve t-shirts or tank tops, my shorts, and PJs, like the cotton ones. It's fun.
Summer is approaching fast and the streets are filling up even faster. Chicago locals have a message for tourists.
Don't flood our Riverwalk. When the sun go down, go home.
Thanks, Jasmine. Thanks to everyone watching. Have a great night.